Assalamu alaikum and a very good day to everybody. I'm here to share with you the study that I did, Da'wah to Japanese Muslim Youth, experience of the cultural exchange program. Did you know that it is estimated that 9 out of 10 Japanese Muslim youth opt not to be practicing Muslims by the time they become teenagers or by the time they reach young adulthood? Why is this so? There are various reasons. First of all, it's the huge societal pressure, the environment within which they live, the peer influence, the Islamophobia, all these put huge pressure on them to not practice Islam. And it caused identity confusion among these second generation Japanese Muslim youth. At some point, they realized that if they do decide to live as Muslims, it's very easy for them to be treated negatively by those around them. So here we have 3 options. First of all, we could do nothing, which puts them at high risk to leave Islam. Secondly, we could send them to seminars and conferences. And I hope you agree with me that this is not an option for everybody because not everyone loves to sit and listen. And the third option is to enroll them in a cultural exchange program where they immerse themselves in a Muslim family way of life, daily life, known as the host family. And they learn to observe. By observation and experience, they see what it's like to live as a Muslim. Why do we need to consider the cultural exchange program approach? First of all, Allah states in the Quran, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qabaila lita'arafu. Allah created men and women and tribes and nations so that we learn from one another about our cultures, and we can learn based on observation. There are things that we can benefit from one another. This is from Surah Al-Hujurat, ayat 13. It is a divine injunction for us to interact with each other at the cultural level. The second reason is that the concept of intercultural experience is not new within the Muslim tradition. Even during the Prophet's time, the Muhajirin, they moved from Makkah to Medina, and they were welcomed with open arms by the Ansars. And this experience cemented the positive relationship between Ansars and Muhajirins. And the third reason is the narratives of eminent ethnic Japanese Muslims, which prove that, yes, the CEP is a viable option to strengthen the confidence of Japanese Muslim youth. We learn from the experience of Omar Mita himself. Omar Mita was an ethnic Japanese man who lived amongst Muslims in China many years ago. And from there, he learned the intricacies and it really won him over. And in the end, Omar Mita became the first ethnic Japanese Muslim to translate the Quran from Arabic into Japanese. The second is Hamanaka, also Allah Yarham, the late Hamanaka. He traveled to Singapore and Indonesia, lived amongst Muslims for short periods. And he was really impressed with how the Japanese, with how the Muslims lived, how much they care for each other, the family bond. And later, he reverted to Islam. He even built a mosque in Nihama. And the third is Sugimoto from the Chiba Islamic Cultural Center, chairman of the CICC. He traveled to Bangladesh, where he stayed for about a week, immersed himself in the culture of the Bangladeshis, and likewise, it left a very strong impression on him. In this research, there are 3 things that I want to share with you. First of all, I had to identify who the Japanese Muslim youth were, who the host parents were, who would be hosting them. And I had to identify the partner organizations. ICIMaC was one of them. The approach is ethnographic, where I had to interview the students and I had to observe how they respond in different situations throughout the study. And then I encapsulated the study in all these items from setting through the report findings. The concept of al-ta'aruf was applied in this research that started with the first step, tahawur, which took place as a dialogue between the researcher and the official organizer, the Chiba Islamic Cultural Center. And then the second step is ta'aruf, whereby the students, when they came to Malaysia, they had to interact, they had to get to know the host family and vice versa. And then it moved on to the host family as well as the Japanese Muslim students. They had to learn to coexist, tolerate each other's differences, exchange of ideas. How is it like being Japanese there in Japan, being Muslim, and what are the meanings of all the actions that we Muslims do? All this honest and open conversation, as well as how they were treated all the time in Malaysia throughout the 8 days, had resulted in something that is positive, whereby the host family, the host parents, and the Japanese Muslim participants were able to associate to one another as brothers. And it created peace in their hearts that, yes, it is possible to be Muslim and Japanese. Here are some of the findings and conclusions that I shared in this study of mine. First of all, the cultural exchange program has been a success. There are key components, 5 domains of human connection that's embedded in the results: the cultural, spiritual, intellectual, emotional. And from this study, we know that the minority Muslim parents need help. We cannot turn a blind eye to what they need to do. Also, through this research, my recommendations are, we need to consider innovative da'wah strategies for youth beyond the usual seminars and classes that we do. We need to do more research with respect to applying the Ansar-Muhajir relationship in future CEPs. And we also need to create a safe environment for learning and to manage the communication gap, because minority Muslims, they might not speak the same language as we do. Just like the Japanese who enroll in this program, they actually could hardly speak English. They mainly speak Japanese. This is the overview of the whole cultural exchange program, where you could see that there are 3 research objectives and 3 research questions. And then the concept of al-ta'aruf is applied, which resulted in 3 findings that corresponded with the research objectives and research questions. Finally, these are some of the photos that we took during the cultural exchange program. As you can see, it's very interactive, and we got very positive feedback, whereby all the 9 participants who participated in the program said that, yes, they would love to participate in this program in future. Thank you.